Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is May 20th, and right now we are looking at the visible satellite imagery. You can see Alaska, Southeast Alaska, British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, and you can see some areas are breaking out a little bit today here. Wasn't too bad on my drive around some of the Puget Sound this morning. Enjoy the sun breaks while you can get them because we have a pretty chilly upper level low that you can see here moving off the coast of Alaska. It's going to come down across the west coast here and set its up shop here across the Pacific Northwest. And then we're going to have yet another system after that drop down across the region. And there's good and bad news to that, of course. It's that time of year we can get pretty nice weather out here, and it's going to keep things cooler than normal, but it is going to bring some much needed precipitation. And you can actually see some of that new snowfall across some of the higher terrain of the Rocky Mountains of BC and Alberta here, and some of Montana and British Columbia here this morning. And hopefully we can add to that a little bit and bring you some beneficial precipitation here over the next week or so. Looking at Seattle yesterday, 62 degrees, 67 the average high for this time of year, but there was some nice sunshine out there. It wasn't too bad of a day by any stretch of the imagination across some of the central Puget Sound around here, and nowhere near some of these record highs set back in 1963. Look at that heat wave, 88, 92, and 93 would be the record high for tomorrow. Not going to get anywhere near that anytime soon. Taking a look at Portland, yesterday we had 64 degrees. That is below average by about 6 degrees there, a little trace of precipitation. And no added snow, no added rainfall to that. I happen to mention the snow because you can see the snow depth was missing. Not like there's any snow on the ground for Portland, Oregon right now. Now, taking a look at the European on the left versus the GFS on the right, these are last night's runs here. So there's Washington, British Columbia, and we're looking at 18,000 feet, 500 millibars, and you can clearly see the next storm as it marches down as we go through the day tomorrow. And this will be right over the top of us when we get to Wednesday morning. Look at the model agreement now, about 54 hours out, and you can see that upper level low right over the top of western Washington right here. So this is going to bring some chillier weather and some precipitation amounts that aren't looking too bad, even for some lower elevations. And then as we scroll off towards Thursday, you can see the next system here. This will be Thursday afternoon. It's going to be right over Southeast Alaska. This one's going to take a similar track right over the Pacific Northwest here. So if we take a look at the timing on this precipitation, not doing too bad today, but you can see as we go through tomorrow morning, precipitation starts across Vancouver Island and western BC, moves across western Washington, late morning hours, tries to move down in towards the Willamette Valley here as we go through tomorrow afternoon. You can see the Cascades picking up some nice rainfall here, the Rocky Mountains, higher terrain in British Columbia, and you can see that upper level low is going to be with us as we move through the day Wednesday. And then that starts to kick out. It moves across Idaho and Montana here as we go through Thursday morning, kind of hanging out for a bit, but you'll quickly see the next system as we go through Friday morning, hot on its heels, and it's going to drop down across the region as well, bringing additional rounds of precipitation and some mountain snow even for the higher terrain. We could have thunderstorm potential with this as well, and some gusty winds out there depending on how things line up. And then if we scroll further off into the forecast, we've got some deep troughing out over the Pacific Ocean. It looks like it wants to set up on some of the extended model runs, and you can kind of see that here, and we could actually start to warm up as we go towards the end of May. No promises just yet. It depends where this trough sets up and just where this ridge axis develops here across much of the west coast. As you can see, it tries to swing a system through here as we go through the very end of May, but we're looking way out into fantasy land at this point. Looking at total precipitation here in inches on the National Blend of Models. I want to scroll through this and kind of show you this system that's rolling in here on the day Tuesday. I mean, look at that, 0.6 of an inch or even more for Seattle. Some bigger amounts across the Cascades, Olympics, BC here, and even some precipitation possible here across some of the basin areas. And of course, once you get a bit further northeast at eastern Washington, across some of the Rocky Mountains here, you're going to start to pick up some better precipitation amounts. And then that next system will be rolling down here as we go through the day Friday, most likely. And you can see some pretty impressive precipitation amount showing up here. So cross your fingers that this verifies and we can bring this, because the fire season has been off to an early start across British Columbia here. And we could really use this precipitation amounts as we go through this next week or so. So looking at total snow in inches, I want to scroll through this pretty quickly here, just kind of showing you that we could pick up some higher elevation snowfall, British Columbia, the Rocky Mountains, the Cascades getting a bit as well as we go towards this weekend here. So yeah, it's not going to be too much, probably not going to affect the passes too much at all. Maybe a couple inches for Stevens at one point here with this chilly upper level low, or maybe a little bit more here, but it should be fairly easy to keep the passes clear. We're not looking at pass closures or any kind of heavy snowfall amounts. It's that time of year where it's really tough to, start to close the passes here as we get through the month of May. But you can see we get some beneficial snowfall here across the region. Cross your fingers for that. Daily 2-meter max temperature. So here is for Tuesday. This is tomorrow. Look at how things are going to be cooled down. Actually, I'm going to back one up here so we can see today, because you can see not bad out there today. Maybe some upper 60s here for Western Washington, up towards 70 for the Willamette Valley, some 70s east. But for tomorrow, look at the cool down coming. And then as we go through Wednesday, the temperature suppressed at this upper level low still across the area. A little bit of a bounce back here Thursday, but then Friday we bring that next troughing down here and keeping things below average here across much of the region. Kind of a nice high resolution look at some of the valleys and some of the lower elevation areas up into British Columbia here that start to warm up this time of year also. But as we go through the extended forecast, you can see some of these temperatures try to bounce back here again, just depending on where this ridge axis develops here across the west coast of North America. So looking at 2-meter temperature anomaly, this is for today. And as we go on in towards Tuesday is what I want to highlight here. Tuesday afternoon, you can clearly see the storm system kind of keeping the temperature suppressed. And again, 2-meter temperature anomaly here. Once you start getting to some of these greens here, you're looking at, 13, 14, 15 degrees below normal. And once you get into some of these purples, you're looking at 17, 18, 19 degrees below normal. And so as we scroll through into Wednesday afternoon, you can clearly see the upper level low across the region here. And a little bit of a bounce back Thursday as this system tries to slide off to the east. But then that next system is going to be rolling down here as we go through this weekend. There's Friday afternoon and there's Saturday afternoon right there. So yeah, got some more systems on the way here, folks. And if we take a wider view of things here, this is the European artificial intelligence run as of last night. I'll put this into motion and you can see our next system on its way as we go through the day. Wednesday, ridge is out here across the Pacific Ocean, allows this next system to kind of drive down across the region as we go towards the end of the weekend, through the weekend. And then as we scroll off into the future, the GFS has been showing this deep troughing over the Pacific Ocean here as well, and a ridge developing here across some of the western portions of the USA. Again, a lot of uncertainty looking this far out. We're looking 10 days out at that time frame here. So, take it with a grain of salt, but models are in pretty good agreement with this trough developing out here and some ridging here. Not good for storm chasers out across some of the plain areas. And it could really warm us up here, depending again on just how far west this troughing sets up. But if it sets up a bit further east, of course, we're going to be a little bit cooler. And if we look at the GFS for Seattle, Tacoma, you can see the troughs moving through here. Some pretty chilly days coming up, and then we start to maybe bounce back as we go on into the extended forecast. But we'll be looking at that coming up here. And by the way, I'll be out chasing. I'm leaving tonight. I'll be out chasing for at least one day, and I'll be back on Wednesday. So there may or may not be a briefing tomorrow. Just a heads up for that. So if we look here at Seattle, Tacoma, you can see the first trough here. There's the second one, and then maybe something coming off towards the end of the month there. But again, we'll be breaking that down day by day. But you can see the ensemble members do have a pretty good shot of precipitation coming as we go through the day Tuesday for Seattle. And then that next system should bring some measurable precipitation as well. The ensemble mean is up over 1/4 of an inch here on the first one and just under it on the second. Now, if we look at Stampede Pass, you can see some better amounts across the higher terrain of the Cascade Mountains. You can see the ensemble mean is up over an inch. Next trough comes, and then something off into the future. Mount Baker ski area, something similar here as well. So looking at Mount Baker also, you could pick up some snowfall for the higher terrain as we go with these next two troughs. You can see even one of the control runs there has up over 10 inches in a 24-hour period. The ensemble mean right around a couple inches, however. And if we take a, so that was it. I didn't put anything else in today. But now, so we've got these cool systems rolling down here. I mean, enjoy that, because the Climate Prediction Center does call for an above average summer here and below average precipitation here across a lot of the Pacific Northwest. So that's something we'll be breaking down and watching. We'll be watching La Nina as it comes up here over the next few months. And, I'll be updating you probably monthly. I'll put out a video probably monthly when the outlook comes out here that does talk about the ENSO conditions. And we'll see just how strong this La Nina is going to be. Are we dealing with neutral or even very weak La Nina conditions, or will it be of the stronger variety? All good questions, something we'll be looking at here as we go through the following months. But anyway, I hope you guys are having a good day. Again, I will be out chasing tomorrow across portions of Nebraska, Iowa, and then I'll be back on Wednesday. So the briefing may not come out tomorrow, and it may be late on Wednesday, but I should have briefings out on Wednesday as I get home. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a good day. Enjoy that sunshine if you get a few sun breaks out there today, and I will talk to you guys either tomorrow or Wednesday.